Well, it's the NFL, and a win is a win as the Jaguars beat the Falcons 23-7. I'll tell you why the defense were the stars of the show in just a second.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you all for joining me today. Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, for a special postcast edition as the Jaguars win 23-7. We are your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. A quick reminder that we're free to subscribe to on our YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Jaguars, hit the bell for notifications whenever we drop an episode, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button as well. Also, wherever you get your audio podcast, we'll be there too every single day. So make sure you check it out and don't miss an episode. Jags win 23-7 in Wembley against the Atlanta Falcons. The defense was the star of the day. Josh Allen, for the second time this year, got 3 sacks in one game, and he had a forced fumble. Trayvon Walker also got a sack. They had 4 sacks on the day, 2 interceptions, one by Darious Williams that obviously was returned back for a 61-yard touchdown, and another that put him in a real good position to score another touchdown, but they did not do it, by Andre Cisco, the guy says going to end up being an all-pro this year. So the Jags were more physical on defense. They answered the call. Maybe for at least a week, put to bed a lot of the questions about who they should have drafted and so on and so forth. So my question for fans is, and you can answer this since I see a lot of you are joining us here on Locked On Jaguars. Question is okay, statistically, does that satisfy your need for more sacks? But then stylistically and practically, did you see the type of pass rush that you wanted? Or were the sacks just these sacks that just happened to look like they did the trick and they settled everything, but they really, really didn't? So an interesting thing and a little bit of a dynamic sort of we've been going back and forth about sacks, pressures versus actually having a real good, consistent pass rush. And you could get tricked by looking at the numbers instead of just watching the game. So I'd be interested to see what your comments is about that. But kudos to Josh Allen for getting it done. Kudos to Trayvon Walker. And something else that's going to go a little bit unnoticed is kudos to the guys in the interior, because they physically whipped. And you saw on several occasions where when the ball was hiked, the get off was crazy. They were already penetrating and they were already forcing some of those things to happen. So the interior guys that don't get credit for those sacks are actually responsible for them. And this is some of the things that Mike Caldwell has talked about with schematic sacks. Like, if guys do their job, everybody else can get home. The timing, Trey Herndon going one way and Josh Allen coming the other. Whenever when you're doing those stunts and twists and those blitz and guys, you often see those guys. It's not just about beating the man in front of them. It's about going and slanting inside and all of that. So they did a really good job. They did a good job of jumping routes today. Now, I said that they're a better team when they play ahead, and I was ready to come on here and start strutting my stuff. And then it looked like they were ahead and got complacent. So we won't celebrate that too quickly, and we won't sit here and take too much credit for that. The good thing is they're 2-2. A win is a win, right? They figured out a way to win. There's still something left to be desired about trying to find their identity on offense, and we'll hit that in the second half of this postcast. But I told y'all, just get a win. 2-2 is better than 1-3. If you're still going to figure it out, at least figure it out by winning the game. Figure it out by winning the game, and that's the most important thing. It's a pretty good thing to wake up to on a Sunday morning, a good Jaguars victory. I'm going to do something I normally don't do. I usually save going through some of the comments for the second half. I'm going to do that here before we hit the second half of the show, because I'm really, really interested in some of the things you got to say and how you guys feel. And I'm going to talk about the offense and things that they have to do and the things they have to work on. One for the good guys, being home. William Meeks is all over this thing. How they defense was spot on. Need more from offense. Strip sack. William Meeks is all over. I appreciate you, man. Wayne Rickerson's. No, in my DJ Khaled voice, keep going. I think that means that he's not satisfied, right? Ross Gardner, I'm praying our Josh Allen does what he did when we played the other Josh Allen 2 years ago, sacks for us. I'm sure we'll bring that up, Josh Allen. Ross says it'll be nice if they move Trayvon to the inside. It'd be nice in the offseason. It won't be nice right now because he hasn't trained and worked for that stuff. So, yeah, some people still have a little bit of mixed reviews on the pass rush, but they're saying, hey, look, we got to win. A win is a win, and that's just the way it is. We're glad to have a win, and I know everyone else is. It looks like they were a little bit relieved also on the sideline, and I know they had a little bit of a meeting with the offense at the end. To me, that last drive was super, super impressive because they ate a lot of clock and they kept getting first downs, and it's like for the first time they knew what the assignment was and they actually got it done. A lot of people are still questioning Doug Peterson going for – they had a 17-0 lead and said, I would have taken the points. I don't know why he decided to go for it at that point, but it didn't make it. That's what Doug does, though. He's been doing that since he's been here. There are a lot of people that probably want him to stop doing it. But the offensive line, that's going to be the main discussion for me here in just a second. It's going to be that offensive line, man, because I'm telling you, everything that we've done and everything that I've said in the offseason has been about them being able to compete for something bigger. They're not going to be able to do it if they can't block people. And today they still really couldn't block people. We're going to talk about the offensive line. And if Cam Robinson coming back next week is going to be the thing that's really going to fix that. We'll do it all here in just a second on the postcast edition of Locked On Jaguars. I have to let you know first that today's show is brought to you by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. What you do is go to LinkedIn Jobs, get your profile, and add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Now, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And I got to let you guys know about FanDuel, man. That's right. FanDuel is the absolute trip. And you guys know how I feel about FanDuel because I play FanDuel all the time and I tell you guys about it. And you can do absolutely the same thing because the NFL season's already started, man. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. You heard me. I said that's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. So snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. All right, man. So we are breaking it down here on Locked On Jaguars on a postcast. Victory Sunday. Before everybody else gets a chance to play, the Jaguars have already secured their second win of the season. I appreciate you, Ross. Yep, I appreciate you. Thank you, Ross. This is Ross's first time. A lot of people are chiming in. Listen, we got to celebrate these victories, man, because they're hard to come by, especially when the team is struggling. And what you saw today is you saw a team seemingly working through it. So I saw a lot of people on social media asking this question. They were wondering why the Jaguars were why was the offense seemingly very pedestrian, and they were throwing the ball so quickly. Did you notice that every time they did take a deep drop, even when they had extra protection in and they almost was in a max protect situation, that Trever still had to throw the ball while he was running? You know, every time he rolled out, there was somebody gunning from him from the second level, and he had to either get rid of the ball or scramble and try to throw a deep ball that he couldn't really get, enough mustard underneath it. Well, that's because the offensive line isn't very good, and they aren't very physical. And I don't know what you can do other than adding Cam Robinson back. And I know he's been back in the building for maybe a week or two, a couple of weeks, and he did travel with the team. Adding him back into the lineup, does it make them a little more stout? Yeah, it does, especially in the run game. Aside from a sack given up today that I noticed from Walker Little, he's been playing. He's been their best lineman all season. So Luke Fortner isn't going to get any stronger overnight, right? Tyler Shatley, I love Tyler Shatley, man. I always speak to him. I joked about Tyler Shatley being on this team in 2096 because it just seems like he's always going to be there. But he is what he is. He's a career backup. He's a guy's going to make $2 million as long as he plays in the league, right? And he's versatile. He's probably one of the strongest guys, but we got to figure out, does that translate to football strength? Because the middle of that line just doesn't get it done. We're patiently waiting on rookie Anton Harrison on the right-hand side. But it just seems like either everything that they call, whether it's, I don't care who's calling it, Doug or Press, it seems like everything that they call is either the defense is taking a beeline on it or they just can't block people. So I deliberately watched the offensive line. I watched how the get off was. Man, they can't power through people. They can't block people. You got a chance to do it today, because most of the time, if you're watching Jaguar games on Sunday or you're at the game, you're really not paying much of attention. So now that you're free to watch all of the 1 o'clock games and the 4 o'clock games, watch the offensive lines from these good teams. And see, even if they're playing against a good team, they at least win half of their battles. It seems to me that Trever Lawrence is going to be running for his life unless Cam Robinson comes back and he's something we've never seen before, or just the sheer addition of bringing him in and moving people around and giving them a little bit of gas. The offensive line just doesn't seem to have juice. So people were asking me, what would they need in the future? And I was real hesitant to get into that stuff, because I said there's too much blue sky for this season to worry about that. The other part of me is already looking forward to it, and I'm thinking, like, it ain't much. It's probably a little bit more now than I thought. I think they may need a little bit more than I initially thought they were going to need, because it just seems like to me that something is missing on that offensive line, on that front. And they're going to have to make some hard decisions in the offseason of guys that they may want to keep or move on from, or who they can develop. Like I said, we're not giving up on the center, and we're not giving up on the right tackle, and we're definitely not giving up on Walker Little. So we know we got at least those three things to work with, but we need a lot more in order for this team to be a consistent contender. And I think they need to pay as much attention to the offensive line as they have the tight end room and the wide receiver room and the running backs over the last couple of years. Now, I know you can't do everything in 1 year, but an offensive line, man, is the one unit that can make you look bad, even when you have really, really good skill positions or skill position players. And Brown, you're right. They need an interior offensive line. A lot of people shouted out Calais Campbell today. Good, they did. And you're right, and they dink and dunk because there's no time to wait for deeper routes. All right, so here's the plan this week. I'm going to go over some things. The first 3 days of the week is going to all be about what we saw, what has to happen moving forward, because they're going to get into the meat of their schedule. So each and every day. And I'm going to warn you guys now, some of these things are going to be recorded, because I know exactly what I want to talk about once this game. I told you I'm having a hip replacement surgery on tomorrow. So I'm recording these things tonight while it's fresh into my mind about what the Jaguars have to do. So if there's any injury reports or anything that aren't included in the podcast, you'll understand that it's because I'll be on the mend for a couple of days, but I'm leaving y'all with some of the goods. All right. Make sure you guys check out Locked On NFL, also the podcast, as well as the YouTube page. You get 5. You get everyday action, man, but you get it from all different people. I'll be moving from Tuesdays to Fridays, and with David Harrison. So David Harrison and I will be doing that. And make sure you check that out. And the same way you subscribe to our YouTube page, make sure you do that with Locked On NFL as well. All right, Jaguars go up to 2-2, 23-7 victory. It wasn't pretty, but it doesn't have to be. A win is a win. They don't measure pretty wins and ugly wins in different categories. They're all in the same one. All right, you guys, take care of each other, and we'll see you tomorrow with a Victory Monday episode of Locked On Jaguars.